Hey everyone, welcome to episode 283, When You Change. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about a topic that I hear from so many of you when you go to make a big change and the feedback you get from the people around you sometimes doesn't always feel that supportive and loving. But before we get to the topic, I want to talk to you about pocket coaching, which is a great way to have one-on-one contact with me to go over things that you're struggling with in your house on the go through Voxer, which is like a walkie-talkie and voicemail. Got married and had a baby, and it's Voxer. And it's a great way to tell me on the go things that you're struggling with. And then I can tell you things, how I've managed that either in the schools or in the house, and ideas that I have for you based on things that I've done or I've done in the classroom or my colleagues have done or other parents that I've worked with. So go to www.coachingkelly.com, go to the Work With Me tab and sign up there. So I heard this clip on Instagram, and of course I had to play it for you because I love finding things and be like, oh, I have to share this with my friends on the podcast. And it's talking about when you change and the people around you don't change also, or they're actually kind of seem like they're very bothered by your change. This could be something like you want to quit drinking, or you want to drink less, or you want to eat healthy, or you want to change your job, or you want to have a messy house and go from a messy house to a clean house, or you get a new car, or you start reading personal development when you never have before, or you start saving money and not going out as much. It could be anything. You start to get a new group of friends. It could be anything. And this is why sometimes people around you, the people that love you the most, seem like they're triggered by it or almost upset that you're changing, even when it's for something good. I hear this so much for people that are trying to lose weight and get healthy, or they're trying to cut down on their drinking, or they want to live a sober life, or they want to have sober October. They get so much pushback from people like, oh, you're just an old fuddy-duddy now. Comments like that, just backhanded compliments or backhanded comments, not even compliments. And the reason why is because you took their buddy from them. What do I mean? Listen to this. Okay, this is from a talk on Lewis Howes, and this is Jen Sincero. She says, have you ever experienced this with the people closest to you? It can be challenging when we don't feel supported in our growth and our relationships. I want to hear your thoughts and experience in the comments. And of course, it went viral because it's so good.
Number one question I get at my talks is, what do you do when the people closest to you don't support your growth? And the main reason they don't support it is because you're killing off the person they love.
Oh, man.
I mean, think about that. Like, you're changing who you are, and they're comfortable with who you are, and they feel that's their reality too, is caught up in who you are being. So when you decide to change, you're killing off their buddy, and you're screwing up their reality because you fit into theirs.
I mean, I see so many times in the comments, I wish this was my joke, but I'll hear so many people in the comments will say, my prefrontal cortex is completely formed, meaning it's therapeutic. It's that aha, it's that lightning bolt moment of, oh my goodness, what did I just hear? And then the comments, of course, are so helpful. Daniel says, but the thing is, if they really love you, then they would recognize that you're not changing the person they love. You're going into a deeper version of the person they love. And if it's not their perspective, then it is a relationship built on love as much as anybody wants to claim that it is. I don't think that that's true, Daniel, because they are not on that growth journey, so they don't know. They're very scared by that, because when you step out of your comfort zone, what happens is the people around you are forced to step out of their comfort zone too, against their will. You know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. It's awful. It's terrible. It's scary. It's vulnerable. It's all the things. And then we do it. We're like, oh my goodness, the magic is really outside my comfort zone. Oh, that's amazing. But what happens is if we start changing, then the people around us feel like they need to change also. And so now they're being pushed out of their comfort zone against their will. And we know how hard it is when we're doing it on our own. But if someone's doing it against our will, it feels very triggering and very upsetting sometimes. Meta says, as a trauma therapist, it's important to add that relationships have a homeostasis, and when we change, we throw that off. And in order to regain that sense of homeostasis, it forces the other person to shift too. Even if someone in your life isn't supporting your growth, that is never a reason to stay small. Take up space, and the people who are for you will reorient around the new healed version of you and celebrate it. That's so true. It's okay that they're stepping out of their comfort zone, but just don't make it as, like she said, don't use it as evidence of why you shouldn't do the thing. Jody says, and oh, I know Jody. She says, dealing with people can be a roller coaster. Emma says, this is deep and so true. Tisha says, so important to understand. Once you start to heal, it will trigger those closest to you. It's so true. I had a friend and she was, the doctor says, you have to lose weight. You are morbidly obese. You are pre-diabetic at like 35 years old. You cannot keep going like this. So she went on a health kick and she started losing a bunch of weight. And guess who was most upset? Her husband. Because he couldn't share the pizza with her. He felt guilty if he was getting unhealthy. He wasn't ready to do the health kick. She was, but he wasn't. And she never said, you need to do it too, but I'm just not going to have the junk in the house. And so it just rocked their world. Even though she was getting healthy, she was losing weight, she was getting off diabetes medicine. So you could say, oh my goodness, what a jerk. She should leave him immediately. But a lot of times it's not that easy, because just because you're ready to break up with the bad habits doesn't mean the people around you are, because a lot of times those bad habits are like their friend. It's their comfort zone. It's their whoopee. It's like taking a whoopee away from a toddler because they're stuck in emotional childhood. We all are stuck in emotional childhood. Just certain areas, sometimes we're like, you know what? I'm tired of being in emotional childhood in this area. I'm going to branch out and I'm going to grow. Carlos says, growth requires sacrifice. Isn't that so true? Kathy says, friends who don't support your growth were never friends. And I have to push back on that just a little bit because of everything that I've said. Not that I'm the end-all be-all expert, but I just don't want you to take it personally, because it really has nothing to do with you. It's not that they're not supporting you, like, oh, I don't think you should stop drinking, or, oh, I don't think you should eat healthy, or they're only doing it because it's bothering their comfort zone. It's rocking their world. And like she said, you just took their little buddy. Their little drinking buddy, or their little party buddy, or their little lasagna buddy, or their little shopping addiction buddy. I remember when I was in a very, very toxic relationship, I was really good friends with another friend who was in a really, really toxic relationship. So we had that bond together of the toxic relationship. And then finally I got out of the toxic relationship. I woke up, I could have had a V8. And then I was with David while we were dating in a healthy relationship. And she was upset with me that I was in a healthy relationship because we bonded over the toxicity in our relationships. My toxic relationship made her toxic relationship not feel so toxic. It's kind of like if you have a messy house and then you go to a friend's house and you're feeling guilt and shame about a messy house. Then you go to a friend's house and their house is messy too. And you're like, oh, thank goodness I can connect over the mess. Now that's a silly example, but a lot of times that happens when you get in healthy relationships, when you were in toxic relationships. And she was very upset that I was in a healthy relationship because it made her toxic relationship illuminate more, and the red flags that she was ignoring and painting white, all of a sudden she couldn't do that anymore. So this is just really good intel to have. It's not something you have to do and make people feel a certain way. But it's just having that awareness and that understanding makes it not mean anything about you, because 99.9999% of the way people treat you is a projection of how they feel about themselves projected onto you. So when you know it has nothing to do with you and it has everything to do with them and how they feel about themselves, you don't have to judge it. You don't have to change it. You don't have to shame it. You just have to understand it, so then you can continue on your growth journey and not be so triggered and upset and thrown off pattern, so to speak, or thrown off the track because you don't have a whole cheering section. You just have 5 people instead of 50. Well, guess what? Those 5 people, that matters too. But make sure that you are the first person cheering yourself on first. Because when you do that, you teach your kids how to do that. And then all together, everybody will have more harmony in the home. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was, what was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening. I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.